The LGBT Center at Ohio University has been without an official director for almost a month. Students are worried about the future. After President Trump's State of the Union last night, lawmakers look ahead to avoid another government shutdown next week. And in sports, the Ohio women's basketball team has been on a tear lately, while the men's team has had some time off to fix their problems. Newswatch starts right now.
Broadcasting live from WOUB TV in Athens, this is Newswatch.
Good evening, I'm Ben Schwartz. Thank you for joining us. Several roads in Athens and around the region are closed or restricted due to high water. According to the Ohio Department of Transportation, State Route 56 between the Vinton County line and Athens is closed. State Route 144 between US 50 and State Route 329, as well as State Route 356 between State Route 681 and 56, and State Route 550 between State Route 690 and 329 are all closed. Additionally, State Route 681 between State Route 356 and US 50 and State Route 690 between US 50 and 550 are closed in Athens County. Another road will also be closed tomorrow and Friday in the city of Athens. There will be tree removal work on Roosevelt Drive between Columbia and Highland Avenues. The city has asked anyone driving to avoid the area while work is going on. The combination of cold weather last week, the warm-up over the weekend, and now the rain today makes potholes and other road damage more likely. The Ohio Department of Transportation says it is facing a, quote, grim and dangerous financial situation, trying to keep up with infrastructure repairs. ODOT's Director Jack Marchbanks spoke to a panel that will recommend to Governor Mike DeWine how to fund major new road construction and tell them that money is running out for maintenance of existing roads.
If we do not have the funding to fix Ohio roads, more crashes will happen. And I am sad to say that more people will get hurt, and even sadder to say that some people will die.
Marchbanks said 15 years of flat revenues from the gas tax, inflation in highway construction costs, and huge debt payments have driven the agency into jeopardy. The community is honoring the lives of 3 people who were killed in a helicopter crash last week. There was a public memorial service this morning at a church outside of Columbus. The pilot and 2 nurses were killed last Tuesday when the helicopter went down in Vinton County. The helicopter was on its way to transport a patient. Ohio University's LGBT Center is in a state of limbo, with the center's former director, Delphine Batista, on administrative leave since the start of the semester, and student faculty are not happy with the situation. The LGBT Center has been without an official director for almost a month now, and students and staff are concerned about what the future holds. Ohio University's new Vice President for Diversity and Inclusion, Dr. Gigi Sakubin, says Delphine Batista was removed because new leadership is necessary at the center to ensure its success moving forward. But Carolyn Hunter, a staff member at the center, says Batista's removal is sending the center backwards, not forwards.
I don't know if there's going to be any new direction that is a good direction. I've been saying that the new direction is backwards because of how they've been treating us, how they've been treating incidents that revolve us.
Destiny Jaram works in the center as well. Jaram, along with Hunter, protested Batista's firing last month and says she's found it hard to be a queer student of color on campus.
Especially this year, how I've been treated trying to join different groups. Like I joined Student Senate. I was on the LGBTQA plus commission, and it was really fun being a part of Senate, and I did enjoy it, but I was the only woman of color. I was the only person of color in that commission at all, and I was finding myself consistently having to be the only voice of color and like the only person thinking about like kind of being intersectional and like our queerness, and to be like, we can't just include all gay, like masculine white men.
Hunter also says that university administrators have told LGBT Center staff members that they need the center to be more inclusive, which she argues is far from the truth.
I feel like the center is more inclusive than most of the departments in the university. I think if you even just look at the staff, we have everyone from a cis gay white man to a non-binary black trans woman. Like, you can't fake that sort of inclusiveness.
And so while the search for a new director is currently underway, these queer students say that what was once a safe home for them on campus is starting to feel a little less so. The search for a new director is currently underway. As of now, the center is being led by Tyrone Carr. the university's special assistant for the Vice President for Diversity and Inclusion.
Ben, as you mentioned earlier, some roads are closed due to flooding in Athens County. That's all part of a flood warning that's in effect by the National Weather Service. We'll talk about that in a second, but right now it is feeling quite spring-like out there. 59 degrees, humidity is very muggy, 96%, and pressure's 29.86 inches and falling with a west-northwest wind at 1 mile an hour. As I said earlier, very spring-like out there. Temperatures in the upper 50s and lower 60s, 57 in Columbus, 56 in Newark. Look at this, 63 in Ironton and Ripley, all under mainly cloudy skies. The rain is moving out as we speak. Here are the highlights for the next couple of days. A spring-like pattern continues into tomorrow, cooling down going over the next couple of days, and chances of snow return to the area starting next week. We'll talk all about that coming up in my full forecast in the next couple of minutes. But Ben, we are under flood warning, and we will talk about that in just the next couple of minutes. Beware of that.
Thank you for that update, Nick. A third person who was shot is dead after violent assaults in Ross County. Sheriff's deputies found a man and a woman dead Monday at one scene after responding to a male and female with life-threatening injuries a few miles away. Investigators believe the crimes are connected. The wounded man and woman were taken to a Columbus hospital. The sheriff's office says the injured man died yesterday. An Ohio State Highway Patrol trooper is being accused of engaging in unwanted sexual contact. Trooper Christopher Ward was in court yesterday and has been charged with 3 counts of gross sexual imposition. The Ohio Attorney General's office says there are 2 alleged victims. Ward has pleaded not guilty and has been reportedly put on an unpaid leave pending an investigation into his case. Kentucky could soon have more opportunities to register as an organ donor. Today, a legislative committee advanced a bill that would allow residents to register for donation on Kentucky Online Gateway, a state website people use to sign up for state services. Now, nearly everyone who signs up as a donor in the state does it every 4 years when they renew their driver's license. While lawmakers in Washington work to avoid another government shutdown, Athens City Council are putting their own measures in place. Plus, turmoil continues in Venezuela as humanitarian aid is blocked from coming into the country. Keep it here, those stories, when Newswatch comes back.
WOUB is member-supported public television. Your contribution keeps WOUB available in your community. Become a member with a gift of $60 or more for access to stream more than 1,000 of your favorite PBS programs through WOUB Passport. Programs like Nature, Sherlock, and all episodes of Downton Abbey and Victoria. Pledge now at woub.org. And thank you.
This is a box that showed you a world beyond your own. It was just a box, but the world has changed, and so have we. And now the box can be almost any size or shape. And you decide what you want to explore. Anytime, any place. Break out of the box with PBS.
Well, if you love TVC basketball action as much as we do, well then we got the show for you. Hardwood Heroes. Come along with us as we will be breaking down all the action every week. It airs Sundays at 11 p.m. and again Mondays at 6 p.m. But remember, our coverage isn't just limited to the show. We have content being posted all week long on our Twitter, Facebook, and even Snapchat. We'll also have written recaps posted on our webpage and video recaps on our YouTube channel. So check those out as well. And always remember to be heroic.
I loved Ken Burns' series on the Civil War. It was deeply impacting. I love history. To have those stories told through these letters, through stories of love and loss, it rewrote the book on how to tell a story. When television was invented, there were a lot of people who had dreams about what it could do. I think PBS still aspires for and often succeeds at reaching the highest ideals of what television could be.
President Trump talked about unity and bipartisanship at last night's State of the Union. But as the deadline to fund the government approaches, the only way to avoid another shutdown is for Congress and the president to work together. Mary Maloney explains from Washington.
With the State of the Union in the rear view,
now is the time for bipartisan action.
Another hurdle is quickly approaching. Next week, part of the government will shut down again if a funding deal isn't reached.
So let's work together, compromise, and reach a deal that will truly make America safe.
Both sides seem to be stuck on the same point that caused the longest shutdown in U.S. history.
Simply put, walls work and walls save lives.
America is made stronger by the presence of immigrants, not walls.
To get funding for a wall, the president could bypass Congress and declare a national emergency at the southern border.
I think he would prefer not to have to try to cross that bridge, so to speak.
Republican leaders hope they can reach a bipartisan deal first.
I believe at the end of the day we should get this done legislatively, and I'm looking forward to making that happen.
But that can only happen if the president and Congress compromise.
If the president stays out of it, we will get a deal.
In Washington, I'm Mary Maloney.
President Trump also announced in his address that a second summit with North Korean leader Kim Jong-un will take place February 27th and 28th in Vietnam. Members of Athens City Council are also concerned about another potential federal government shutdown. City Council passed a resolution opposing shutdowns during its meeting Monday. The resolution aims at trying to minimize impacts on federal government workers in Athens and for people who rely on government services. Testimony from the president's former personal lawyer is being postponed again. The House Intelligence Panel said Michael Cohen's closed-door testimony was planned for Friday. Now it'll be held on February 28th instead. This is the second planned meeting Cohen has postponed. He was subpoenaed to appear before the Senate Intelligence Committee next week as well, but it's unclear if that meeting will still take place. A bridge connecting Colombia and Venezuela is being blocked, preventing a humanitarian aid effort from coming into the country. The aid collection drive was called for by Venezuela's opposition leader and self-declared President Juan Guaido. Colombian authorities say the blocking action was taken by Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro. Maduro rejected the international aid, saying, quote, "We are not beggars." Another Virginia official is in the middle of controversy. State Attorney General Mark Herring stepped down as the co-chair of the Democratic Attorneys General Association today. Herring admitted to appearing in blackface at a 1980 party where he dressed up as a rapper and wore brown makeup. Days earlier, he called for Virginia's Governor Ralph Northam to resign over a racist photograph on Northam's yearbook page. Northam has said he is not in the photo. Pope Francis is acknowledging the sexual abuse of nuns by priests and bishops for the first time. He says he's committed to ending the problem in the Roman Catholic Church. His comments came in response to a question about the sexual abuse of nuns during a press conference yesterday on his way back to Rome from the United Arab Emirates.
I think it's still taking place because it's not as though the moment you become aware of something, it goes away. The thing continues, and we've been working on this for some time.
This comes after years of uncovering sexual abuse of children by priests and in light of the Me Too movement. A dramatic bank heist in Belgium that played out like a Hollywood movie. The suspect allegedly used an apartment building to tunnel into a bank. They did this by cutting into the sewer system, walking around 1,400 feet, and tunneling back up into the bank. Police still won't say how much was actually stolen. Dutch media, however, is reporting dozens of safe deposit boxes were cracked. Planning on taking a vacation to Key West? Some beachgoers may soon be feeling the burn after a new ban. That story's still ahead.
And weather-wise, we've got flood warnings in effect, all due to these areas of low pressure, but there is a cool down in store and possibility of some snow for the weekend. We'll talk all about that coming up in my full forecast, but first, a look at stocks of local interest.
WOUB is member-supported public television. Your contribution keeps WOUB available in your community. Become a member with a gift of $60 or more for access to stream more than 1,000 of your favorite PBS programs through WOUB Passport. Programs like Nature, Sherlock, and all episodes of Downton Abbey and Victoria. Pledge now at woub.org. And thank you.
Well, if you love TVC basketball action as much as we do, well, then we got the show for you. Hardwood Heroes. Come along with us as we will be breaking down all the action every week. It airs Sundays at 11 p.m. and again Mondays at 6 p.m. But remember, our coverage isn't just limited to the show. We have content being posted all week long on our Twitter, Facebook, and even Snapchat. We will also have written recaps posted on our webpage and video recaps on our YouTube channel. So check those out as well. And always remember to be heroic.
What are you doing?
Possibilities. Your day is filled with them.
Reach up, energy in the fingertips, collapse. TV, play Downton Abbey.
And PBS helps everyone discover theirs. Anytime, anywhere.
Up in the sky, you can see it.
PBS, we're with you for life.
PBS had a special on Pearl Harbor, and once Landon started watching the show about the Arizona, he completely became fascinated.
That's Donald Stratton, and that's me.
And then his Christmas wish this year was to meet Donald Stratton, one of the survivors from the Arizona.
So good to see you, buddy.
Everything that Landon has learned from PBS, it's immeasurable.
This is for you.
Thank you, big guy.
He is living proof of the effect that PBS has had on his life.
In a couple of years, some beachgoers may be more prone to sunburn while visiting Key West. The City Commission, in a 6-1 vote, approved the ban of sunscreens that contain chemicals harmful to its coral reefs. The ban would specifically include sunscreens that contain oxybenzone and octinoxate. Researchers say the chemicals lead of bleaching, DNA damage, and death of corals. The planet has been feeling the burn as well. In 2018 was the fourth hottest year on record. 18 of the 19 hottest years on record have happened since 2001. The National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration and NASA both say greenhouse gases caused by human activities is what is causing the temperature rises. The average global temperature is up 2 degrees since the 1880s.
Ben, it's certainly feeling like we're in store for another record heat year. Hi everybody, I'm forecaster Nicholas Snyder. Look at these highs today. It was very spring-like. 57 in Columbus, 56 in Newark, 56 in Cambridge, 57 in New Martinsville. Temperatures were basically in the upper 50s and lower 60s. We had rain all across the area, but that rain has since moved out, and it's all due to this very prominent jet streak, down in Texas and Oklahoma. That's allowing a train of low pressures to form and allow a bunch of storm systems to produce a lot of rain. And for that reason, we are under a flood warning here in Athens County. The bright greens are flood warnings up here in Muskegon County, Guernsey County, Noble County, Monroe County, Wetzel, and Marshall counties in West Virginia. Athens, Jackson, Vinton, Meigs, Washington, and Morgan counties are under flood warnings. And then the flood advisories are in the blue-green areas. So what can you expect in the flood warning? 2 inches of rain have already fallen. Expect ponding and flooding, and of course never drive through a flooded roadway. Turn around, don't drown. We'll talk about more of that in just a second, but first we'll get you through tonight. 55 tonight at 8. Very humid. Fog will develop likely past 8 p.m. Showers are possible around 10 as some more rain moves in, but the rain will move out by midnight at 53 degrees, but fog will be likely. So tonight in Athens, 50 degrees, a chance of rain, very foggy, winds out of the northeast at 0 to 5. If you're going out and about tonight, be wary of the fog as it will be quite foggy. All across the area, temperatures will be in the upper 40s and lower 50s, 46 in Columbus, 46 in Newark, 49 in Cambridge, 51 in New Martinsville. Rain likely further south you go, especially south of the river in Kentucky and in West Virginia. And more rain will come in through tomorrow afternoon. 51 at 8, 56 at 10, and 61 at noon. Fog will burn off at 10 p.m., but the rain moves back in at noon tomorrow. And for the afternoon, rain will be likely. 67, well above average. That's going to be our high. It is going to be a very spring-like day. Winds will be out of the south at 5 to 10 miles an hour. And again, all due to this low pressure. We're in the warm sector. That's with the warm front right there, and that's why we're going to be so warm. Rain will move in tomorrow. Cold front will come through tomorrow night, and that will really cool us down going into the weekend. Here's our 10-day air masses forecast. Again, there's our cold front coming through tomorrow. For the weekend, the cold air comes back. We're only going to cool you off into the 30s. But next week, another warm-up is possible before cooling you down once more. Here's the extended forecast. 32 on Saturday, 39 on Sunday with possible snow chances coming in. Monday, snow as well at 39. Tuesday, rain at 50. And Wednesday, 52. So warming you back up next week, Ben. So a much warmer next 7 days than we saw last week.
Yeah, thank you for that update, Nick. I don't know how I feel about the rain, but as long as it's not last week,
definitely
sounds better. Students visiting the Front Room Coffee House may have noticed something prehistoric today. Ohio University turned Front Room into a prehistoric museum for digital dinosaurs, an event where Professor Lawrence Whitmer talked about his research on dinosaurs and today's animals that are related to them. This was part of the 10th Annual Science Cafe, an event held to talk to the community about various science projects. Professor Whitmer says digital dinosaurs helps the community feel comfortable when talking about science, no matter how scary it looks.
Science isn't, scary. It's not necessarily hard. And in fact, it's actually vital. So much of the world around us depends on us not necessarily being scientists, but not being afraid of science. And so the public in general needs to be comfortable with science and not afraid of it. And I think these science cafes go a long way towards helping.
If you missed the event, you can find the full presentation online at livestream.com/OhioCAS.
How's it going, everybody? I'm Nick Niehaus. Coming up, a few local football stars are officially locked in to their college of choice to play at the next level. I'll tell you who is going where. And the Ohio women's basketball team is back in action tonight against Akron. See what Coach Bob Bolden thinks about who is individually standing out. That and more when Newswatch returns.
A box that showed you a world beyond your own. It was just a box, but the world has changed, and so have we. And now the box can be almost any size or shape. And you decide what you want to explore. Anytime, any place. Break out of the box with PBS.
What are you doing?
Possibilities. Your day is filled with them.
Reach up, energy in the fingertips, collapse. TV, play Downton Abbey.
And PBS helps everyone discover theirs. Anytime, anywhere.
Up in the sky, you can see it.
PBS, we're with you for life.
Well, if you love TVC basketball action as much as we do, well, then we got the show for you. Hardwood Heroes. Come along with us as we will be breaking down all the action every week. It airs Sundays at 11 p.m. and again Mondays at 6 p.m. But remember, our coverage isn't just limited to the show. We have content being posted all week long on our Twitter, Facebook, and even Snapchat. We will also have written recaps posted on our webpage and video recaps on our YouTube channel. So check those out as well. And always remember to be heroic.
WOUB is member-supported public television. Your contribution keeps WOUB available in your community. Become a member with a gift of $60 or more for access to stream more than 1,000 of your favorite PBS programs through WOUB Passport. Programs like Nature, Sherlock, and all episodes of Downton Abbey and Victoria. Pledge now at WOUB.org. And thank you.
Welcome back. I'm Nick Niehaus. The Ohio women's basketball team is back on top of the MAC East standings after Saturday's 32-point blowout win against Ball State. and they get another chance to extend that divisional lead tonight as they face off against 12-7 Akron. The Bobcats are one of the best shooting teams in the entire MAC, especially from three. On Saturday's game, Amani Burke actually set the record at OU for most threes in a game with 11, which also tied the MAC's all-time record. But she isn't the only one who can shoot. There are 6 players that are shooting over 40% from three-point land, which begs the question for Coach Bob Bolden, who's the best shooter on this team? Well, not surprisingly, he was stumped.
I don't know. Obviously, I think what's unique about it is they've all had moments like today. Dom shot it really well. She probably shot 75-80% in our scrimmages today. We've all seen Erica go through stretches where she shot it really well, and we've certainly seen Kaylee make in games. Kaylee's made 3-4 in a row. So, it would be very difficult to ask. I don't know. I'm happy they're all here.
So even though the women's team is currently catching fire from beyond the arc, the men's basketball team has been ice cold. They're shooting under 30% from three, but they have this whole week off. Their next game is Saturday against rival Miami, and Coach Saul Phillips says he's using this week to address one thing.
Well, it's important that we hammer out some things offensively, obviously, and this comes at a perfect time for us. You're at the halfway point. It's time to gear up for that closing stretch. So for us to have some time to maybe work on some things where if it's a 2-day turnaround you wouldn't have the chance to work on is a real advantage. We have to take advantage of it. We need to shoot the ball better, and there's a couple ways that can happen. A, play a little bit looser, a little bit freer, and knock down the open ones. But B, generate shots in different ways, and that's, again, a big part of what we're trying to do this week.
Unlike men's basketball, the women's golf team didn't have the week off. They were in Florida for the Mid-American Match Play Challenge. In the first day of matches, the Bobcats fell to Morehead State 4-1, putting them in the consolation bracket where they defeated Purdue. Fort Wayne host Bowling Green won the entire event. Although Ohio women's soccer season is far gone, they're still making moves. Announced by the soccer team yesterday was the hiring of Courtney Weisler, who will be filling the assistant coach vacancy left behind by Debs Brereton, who is now the head coach at Idaho State. Weisler isn't any new to coaching. She has had coaching stints at Murray State and Creighton and also served as the director of operations for the soccer team at the University of Kentucky. Sticking to fall sports, it is National Signing Day for high school football players around the country, but we have some local standouts inking that piece of paper. From the TVC alone, there are 3 players who are all heading to Marietta College in the fall of 2019. Just in our backyard at Athens High School, Clay Davis, the Bulldogs quarterback, and Logan Maxfield, Davis's favorite target at receiver, will still be teammates for the Pioneers, and they'll be joined by Waterford's all-time rushing record holder, Braden Belleville. Now, Ben, I don't know about you, but I think they might have hit each other up to start some kind of super team from the TVC.
Yeah, I cannot think of any other explanation. Thank you, Nick. The 2019 Lunar New Year is upon us. Yesterday marked the Year of the Pig. The celebration occurs around the world and lasts for 15 days. The Lunar New Year is also a time of traditions. The fireworks are used to scare off evil spirits, and wearing only red brings luck and prosperity.
Tomorrow in Athens, 67 degrees, very above average. Afternoon rain is likely. Winds will be out of the south at 5 to 10 miles an hour. It's all due to this low pressure off to our west. This cold front's going to bring in some rain, and it's going to cool us off for the weekend as we take a look at the extended forecast. 34 will be only the high on Friday, 32 on Saturday. Snow moves in on Sunday with a 40% chance there, 39 degrees, 39 on Monday. Chance of rain on Tuesday at 50, and rain likely on Wednesday at 52. Ben?
Thank you, Nick. And that does it for our broadcast this evening. Thanks for watching. I'm Ben Schwartz. Stay tuned for the PBS NewsHour coming up next. And remember, you can always find the latest news anytime at WOUB.org. Have a great night.